is delivering his Understanding Emotional Intelligence speech for Motivational Strategies Path Level 3. He takes you on his recent journey of self-discovery, where he gained insight into his personality, signature emotion, and areas of resilience. Then he lays on the audience a super top secret trick for improving your empathy and thus your relationships. Let's welcome Philip Pape with his speech, How Not to Talk to Your Wife or Anyone Else. Philip Pape.
Hey babe, you are looking great. Those morning workouts every day are really paying off. I said to my wife a few weeks back, and she said, thanks for noticing. And then a few days later, she said, you know how my knees have been hurting? I've been squatting more and it's really helping. And I said, well, what are you doing for your squat? How are you adding weight? Are you using a dumbbell? Are you using a barbell? How are you going to progress the load over time? Madam Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and guests, this was a personal lesson in thinking before you speak. A few weeks ago, I started to use an app called Mequilibrium. It's offered for free through our company benefits for those of us who work at Collins. And the app claims to help individuals increase their resilience. I was skeptical. I already consider myself a mentally gritty and resilient person. But I decided, let me try it out and see if I learned something about myself. I took the self-assessment and they shared 3 results with me: my personality, my signature negative emotion, and my strongest and weakest areas of resilience. No surprise, my personality is, drumroll please, problem solver. I love to fix things. And if the solution doesn't work, I get creative and look for a plan B and a C and a D until I get there. And this sometimes comes at the expense of people. As a problem solver, it's also no surprise that my signature negative emotion is frustration. I don't have what I need to get the job done and solve that problem. Have you ever heard that the most important part of emotional intelligence is self-awareness of your emotions? Trick question, it's not. Because what good is self-awareness if you don't do anything about it? The key is, do you have control over that emotion that you've become aware of? With this in mind, this little thought nugget, I wrote my first journal entry to start tracking my emotions. And I paraphrase. If I had more control over my frustration, I would react more positively to frustrating situations. I need to realize that everyone has a different capability, and the resources I need to get the job done aren't always available. If I could stop being impatient when some small thing doesn't go my way, I would be able to focus on moving ahead toward a solution and maintaining healthy relationships. Life and work would be less stressful. Finally, the third thing is what the app told me about my lowest resilience score, which was empathy. No surprise, my highest score was physical activity, so I know where my priorities are. But empathy has a very simple definition: the ability to understand and share, that is, internalize the feelings of another person. Very tough for me to do. I actually prefer something that Dolly Parton said. She said, if you see someone without a smile, give them one of yours. This brings me back to the story about me giving unsolicited strength training advice to my wife, and coaching your spouse is something I would never, ever, ever recommend. During that same week, serendipitously, I received an article in my inbox that said, no joke, think before you speak. Talk about speaking to me. The article was all about improving your communication by learning to take a moment before blurting something out that you might regret. Taking that moment can improve your emotional intelligence, your empathy, and thus your relationships. Here's how. Before opening your big fat mouth, pause and ask yourself 3 questions. Number 1, does this need to be said? Did I need to advise my wife on her squat technique? Or should I have just said, that's awesome, you found something that helps with your knees? Did you need to give that person a piece of your mind who took your parking spot at the grocery store? Does it need to be said? Number 2, does this need to be said now? A study in the journal Motivation Science found that we as humans love to take revenge immediately. We don't want to plot and plan our revenge. We just want to give the enemy a lesson right now. Conversely, if you were to ask yourself, can I wait before I say this thing, and then cool your jets for a while, perhaps you'll lose the appetite of ever having to say it. And number 3, and I love this one, is it kind? The great Dalai Lama once said, be kind whenever possible. It is always possible. It's all about respect. Someone at work messaged me the other day and said, that person cut me off while I was talking. It was so rude. All I want is a little respect. Don't we all? And without that, it can be a tough sell. And it can be a tough sell when you don't have control over your emotions. What have I learned from this recent and very timely experience? Number 1, I like to solve problems, but it can make me a cold-hearted SOB. Number 2, I get easily frustrated, but if I can get control over that emotion, I can turn a negative, the emotion, into a positive solution, which is what I like to do, solve problems. And number 3, by thinking before I speak and asking myself, does this need to be said? Do I need to say it now? And is it kind? I can increase my empathy and thus my relationships with people. What is your signature emotion? Is it frustration like mine? Is it anger? Is it anxiety? Something else? And how can you use the strengths of your unique personality to take control of that emotion and use it to become a better person? Madam Toastmaster.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Philip. I think that was a very relevant topic for the age that we are living in. That is excellent advice that many people could benefit from in our world today.